Hey, what's up guys? We're going to be talking about how to find yourself. And I was looking around on YouTube at things that are commonly searched, and I thought it was interesting that one of the most common ones was, how do I find myself? How do you find yourself? If that's a question that you have in your life, if that's something that interests you, what is everything in your life that isn't you? I think that's an amazing place to start. I remember being a 19-year-old in college, and I realized that I was living this life that wasn't even mine. That I was going to school to study economics and business, to not ask any questions in class, and go down a path to go work for some big company that I didn't care about. And I was like, do I actually want this? Is this actually who I am? And we live in this culture that makes it so easy to believe what everyone else tells us. And pretty soon we're on a career path that isn't even ours. It's not even our own interest. It's what our parents wanted us to do, or it's what all of our friends did, and it was the socially acceptable thing to do, or teachers told you, that it was good. And you could be 15 years old or you could be 60 years old, and the chances are that you've headed down a path that may not even be yours. And so I think the first step to finding ourselves, to knowing who it is that we are, is, what part of my life isn't me? Like, what do I actually like? What do I actually want to do with my life? If you want to find you, you've got to be you. Not the you that you think your parents want you to be. Not the you that you think your friends want you to be. Not the you that you think that your lover wants you to be. You've got to be you. We spend most of our lives living the idea of what somebody else has for us. Often it's our parents. It can be a friend. It can be a lover. It can be an uncle. It can be a grandparent. It can just be the world. But we're living an idea of who we think we should be. And I think that we can all attest to, whenever we're really in the flow, whenever, have you ever went to the gym, or you went to a great yoga class, or you fell in love, or you went to church, or you had a great day at work or at school, and you just felt like you were in the flow. You weren't thinking about things. You weren't like, how should I talk to this person, and what should I do here? And it was just that you weren't in the thinking part of your mind. You were just who you were, and nothing was gonna affect that. You were in flow. And I don't think there's this set way that we can just find ourselves, because everyone else has their own roadmap to their heart, to their life, to their desires, to the things that they want to create in life. But I invite you to ask yourself, what parts of my life are a total illusion? Is it the career path that you're on? Is it your goals in life? Or just like looking at the areas of our life, like, is this really who I am? It's this scary thing. I remember when I quit college so many years ago, I remember my mom crying, thinking that I ruined my life, and a lot of my friends thinking I was crazy, losing friends. But I realized it wasn't even who I was. And there's this quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson I always say, do not go where the path may lead. Instead, leave the path and make your own trail. And I think the question to ask, if we do want to find ourselves, is just like, what do I actually want to create? Like, what in my heart do I want to create going forward? There's no right or wrong way, but the thing is that most of us aren't living authentically what it is that we want. And then we get so busy. Like, we live in a busy world. Our entire day is pretty much set. There's not that much time for thinking. So we get on a path that isn't even ours, and it doesn't happen until like our deathbed or a midlife crisis do we find out, like, what have I been doing? Because that's all a midlife crisis is like realizing, like, is this path that I'm on even mine? Like, what am I actually doing with my life? Because the first 40 years of our life, we were on autopilot. So whether you're 65 years old or whether you're 14 years old, it doesn't really matter. The question is this my life I'm living? If I died today, would I feel like I actually lived a complete life? Matter of fact, that question, I just decided I wanted to have more fun with my YouTube channel and start making a lot of videos and like really diving into content that hopefully serves and inspires and empowers you. Because I thought, if I died, like let's say that I went outside and I got hit by a car, or I got in a car accident, or whatever happened, I found out I had some disease. I want something to be left behind. And I was thinking YouTube is really the only thing that like can be left behind. My books, obviously, but Facebook, Instagram, you can't really leave that behind. YouTube, people will come across the videos 20 years from now, 30 years from now. It'll always be there, it's documented. And this is what I wanna do with my life, and I wanna make sure it's out there in the world. And so my question to you is, if you died, or you just found out that you had an illness, God forbid that you had an illness, and you had 3 months to live, would the life that you've created thus far really be your life? Or have you been settling, or have you been giving into fear? Have you been giving into the expectations of others because you're scared of what people think? Are you scared of what your mom and your dad will say, or you just don't want to fail? Whatever it is, have you been limiting yourself and your spirit and what your heart is telling you that you want to create in your life with more adventure and more fun and more free will to choose the life that you want? Do you have that? I think a lot of our stress is because we're living an inauthentic life. We haven't asked ourselves, we haven't dreamed boldly and then said, who am I? What do I actually want? Because when you can answer that, and then you can have the courage to, as Henry David Thoreau said, move confidently in the direction of your dreams, that's when you begin to find yourself. So if you died, or you found out you're gonna die in 3 to 6 months, could you say unequivocally that you have totally found out who you are and you've lived that dream? And if not, what would you need to do from this moment forward? From this moment forward, what would you need to do so that you could say yes? Put it out on paper, write it out on paper, write that vision out moving forward, and move confidently towards that. That's how you find yourself.